With nearly a year and a half to go to next generation, and with Microsoft and Sony both revealing the hardware plan for the next Xbox and the PS5, the masses have taken to boasting which console will be more powerful. The problem is, logic and information from real experts is being ignored to claim the privilege that, quote, the PS5 is more powerful than Xbox Scarlett. This is Colt Eastwood. This subject has been fiercely shared all over social media and in my comment sections, and I wanted to debunk the claim so we don't have to listen to it for the next 12 months. Some of the information is based on hardware developers, Sony and Microsoft's trajectory, and the information that AMD and the console leaders have shared in interviews. I think I can make a compelling argument instead of relying on hearsay or leaks from unnamed developers. So if you're good with that, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and let's find out which console will be more powerful, and more importantly, why? Last year at Xbox E3 in 2018, Phil Spencer proclaimed that the next Xbox consoles would continue to be the benchmark in console gaming. Microsoft's hardware team for Xbox is comprised of the industry's leading architects, and proof of concept was the Xbox One X. Although a year newer and $100 more expensive from the Pro, it was quieter, cooler, and more power efficient, and around 40% more graphically powerful than its competitor. Microsoft proved with the X and even the Xbox One S that they could purpose-build a sleek and near-perfect console design, even adding things above the mark such as a UHD Blu-ray player, HDMI 2.1 higher bandwidth display ports to support Dolby Atmos and variable refresh rates on fast monitors. In comparison, the PS4 Pro was a bare minimum for only $100 less, no UHD drive, no high bandwidth ports, slower memory pipeline by far than the Xbox One X, and only recorded its dynamic 4K gameplay at a fourth of the quality overall next to the X. But as soon as Microsoft announced the hardware and architecture for the Xbox Project Scarlett, rumors poured in that developers claimed that the PS5 was more powerful than the Xbox Scarlett. Mark Cerny is a brilliant architect for Sony and invaluable to their division, and he leveraged his technical expertise to pioneer checkerboard dynamic rendering for the advent of 4K TVs and brought massive PS4 games to life for only $400. But the PS4 Pro was much louder, ran hotter, and did not enjoy the premium qualities that the Xbox One X offered solely because the hardware design didn't allow for it. This is the first reason to believe Phil Spencer and Matt Booty when they say that the Xbox Scarlett will be the most immersive and most powerful console on the market. Microsoft knows hardware. They partnered with AMD to custom build their console to meet two demands for gamers: performance and price, in that order. To secure the benchmark in console gaming, Microsoft has to take a two-point approach by getting the maximum power in an APU semi-custom chipset while targeting a marketable price of around $500, while Sony may be targeting first price and then performance at around $400. Both consoles will likely easily achieve 4K gaming at 60 FPS on most games, but with the expertise Hive collection of Microsoft's engineers, the Xbox Project Scarlett can go the extra mile, and that's where the words most immersive come into play. Maybe on paper the graphics engine looks more powerful in the PS5, but the Xbox Scarlett is faster and better suited to handle better physics, AI, and visual upgrades that make a massive difference over pixel counts. But it isn't likely that the PS5 has bigger or better specs unless Sony plans to sell their next console at $500 as well. We know for certain that neither company wants to or can allow a large profit loss by overbuilding and selling cheaper. Sony has zero incentive to sell a $500 console when the $400 price model has been so successful for the PlayStation. Ignore the claims that next generation will push console pricing into the $800, let alone $600 bracket. Phil Spencer recently told the press that they understand what console pricing is and they plan to meet that expectation. We are 16 months from the launch of the new consoles, and that week, the developers claimed that the PS5 was more powerful than the Scarlett. Microsoft said they were, quote, working on getting dev kits out to developers, which means that PlayStation developers were likely comparing the PS5 dev kit in person to Project Scarlett specs on paper before getting hands-on with the new Xbox. There is much more to the console design than looking at a dev kit, which is typically higher powered than the launch hardware to allow for headroom in game development and testing. According to Albert Pinello, former console marketing lead at Xbox, the dev kits are not a viable measurement for comparison, as the chips are nowhere near finalized until 3 to 6 months before production begins in the late summer of 2020. Instead, the development kits are meant to provide game creators a target of power and performance to build an efficient balance of the final game on the new hardware. Now here's where the information gets really compelling. Reports of the Zen 2 and Navi hardware in PS5 and Project Scarlett may not be as similar as we thought. Sony has never claimed to be the most powerful, instead focusing messaging on fast performance with a solid-state hard drive, which will improve performance and speed up the console even in loading times. Microsoft has continued to reaffirm that they will be the benchmark in console power. Microsoft's Mike Ibarra stated, "If you want the absolute best on console, then Scarlett is for you." So Microsoft has claimed the power advantage several times, while Sony has claimed to have a faster experience on PS5 with an SSD and ray-traced audio. But Microsoft has claimed to bring hardware-accelerated lighting and reflection, visual ray tracing in the Scarlett. What this means is, the hardware will have a dedicated core for ray tracing, instead of PS5's software brute force ray tracing from cores busy directing frames and resolution in-game. Even more simply put, the PS5 may have a bigger, stronger GPU on paper, but the Scarlett will be faster, more efficient, and allow for more immersive gameplay at slightly lower resolution with better physics, lighting, and details on screen. Anyone with a $800 plus PC graphics card can tell you that better lighting and visuals at higher frame rates makes a game come alive that current consoles cannot achieve. At worst case scenario, the PS5 may push higher pixel counts while lowering performance and frame rate, trying to multi-process visual extras with resources that have to share with the software. The Project Scarlett console is about 10% more powerful than an RTX 2070 GPU valued at $450 on its own. There is good reason to believe it is a 7nm plus chip built on RDNA 2, according to Microsoft's claim to have hardware-accelerated ray tracing. This means that the PS5 compromised on power for price to use software-based ray tracing with a 7nm chip on RDNA, which is a generation older than the Scarlett. If Sony plans to use emulation or software-based visual improvements with slightly lower performance for $100 cheaper, Sony fans have a lot to be excited about, with incredible looking games leaps and bounds over the PS4 Pro for only $400. The Xbox Scarlett will be a benchmark for consoles, even rivaling many powerful PCs running RTX 2000 series cards, with games running at high resolutions, high frame rates, and visual icing of ray tracing with Microsoft's own DirectPhysics, a solution to NVIDIA PhysX not available outside of NVIDIA PC GPUs. It sounds like Scarlett will have a dedicated core purely for physics rendering and ray tracing for developers to work with. So far, everything we have looked at objectively, without relying on rumors and leaks from developers with only half of the hardware to consider, points to Microsoft being right about having the most powerful console to offer next generation. Power matters, and it is very important in the first years of the console lifecycle, as everyone, gamers and developers, push to show next generation visuals on the new consoles. This time around, Sony PlayStation is on a roll with a steady, consistent release of excellent first-party games, and Microsoft has held back big announcements for Ninja Theory, Playground Games, and the Initiative Studio, games in development for the launch of the next Xbox. This is a whole new Xbox with a real investment in the brand, and both Microsoft and Sony see the importance of great local hardware in a world that is in a hurry to go digital and play in the cloud. Fanboys will start wars on just the rumors of the dev kits, but it's important to remember that these kits have no grounded reality of what the final product will be at launch. As we start seeing more Scarlett dev kits sent out, we'll likely hear more about the power differential. But for now, we can honestly get excited about the prospect of seeing visuals and performance we've never seen before. And Microsoft and Sony truly mean it. For the first time, millions of gamers will load up games lightning fast, with visuals and frame rates usually reserved for high-end PCs. And all of this on a beautiful HDR UHD TV with the world's best game controllers and console games that set the standard of what beautiful worlds we get to experience thanks to incredibly talented game developers. This is Colt Eastwood. Thank you so much for watching. I know I cover a lot of Xbox news, and I'm really looking forward to both consoles because it sounds like they both will offer something all of us want. I think it's a great plan to make the PS5 a little cheaper at the cost of some visuals, and I think it's great that the next Xbox will bring more power for those that don't mind paying for the extras. But either way, the frame rates alone should truly make next generation an amazing experience. If you enjoyed this video or it changed your perspective a little, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to be notified of new videos. I only create new content about once a week, so I won't spam your phone. Also follow me on Xbox and Twitter at Colt Eastwood. If you want to send me a message or ask me a question, my DMs are open. Thanks again for taking the time to share this video with someone that is talking about Scarlett and the PS5. I'd love to hear from them in the comment section. But if you can, please enjoy gaming. Try to have a productive discussion, and as always, be nice.